Hello everyone, welcome back to Tin Can Flight Simulator. Last time, we started a somewhat successful space program that managed to make it to orbit and even the Mun. Since then, some things have changed around here. Namely, I set the game difficulty to hard. No more quick saving for me. Oh, also, I installed more mods. I still don't have a life support mod, but that could change very, very quickly. Anyways, what was I doing? Oh, right. Last time, we said our first objective was to land on Minmus. So, let's go for it. Oh, that was quick. Minmus, having just over a third of the Mun's radius and 37 times less mass, is very easy to land on. Take note of this, it will become important later. Anyways, this lander was jam-packed with the finest science known to our R&D department on a launch vehicle as small as we could get away with. Oh, look, a second Minmus landing. This one, in addition to what was on the last lander, had deployable science experiments, which can be placed on the surface of a planet or moon by a Kerbal. But I got distracted by these random ground stakes I brought and completely forgot about the deployable science, which meant I had to send a third lander to actually go and deploy it. Well, I landed on Minmus. What now? After having explored both of Kerbin's moons, I took the obvious next step. Launch a terrible little plane that could barely pull up and abort from it. Launch another plane that provided something of value to society. Science. Find out that I sent several pieces of debris interstellar by complete accident. Launch a space telescope to look at things and complete contracts for me. And land on Minmus a fourth time. Oh, speaking of that last mission. Yep, you just watched Jeb explode because of my negligence. No problemo, we still have Val and a brilliant legal department. With Jeb's family properly compensated for their loss, let's talk about ScanSat. ScanSat is a mod that introduces a variety of parts that allow you to map out the surfaces of celestial bodies, giving you all kinds of information, from biome data to altimeter data. Naturally, this is very useful for planning out missions. So, the next thing our glorious space program did was put scanners around Kerbin, the Mun, and Minmus for maximum map data. Great. What now? Oh, right. Interplanetary. Of all the planets there are only really two accessible to us with any kind of these. Eve and Duna. Of these two, one is by far the superior choice. To start, we'll perform a flyby of Eve because of my contractual agreement with Kerbin World First's record-keeping society. Now, Eve is very far away. This makes getting there and coming back a problem. The getting there part isn't a problem if you spent as many hours in this game as I have. The problem is getting back. See, because Eve is so far away, when we get back to Kerbin, we'll be going very, very fast when we re-enter Kerbin's atmosphere, which means we'll need a good heat shield. Also no problem. Unfortunately, it seems like I was trying to tempt fate. Since I'd made a special design for the re-entry portion of the craft, I decided to launch a test rocket to see how well it'd survive re-entry. And guess what? It barely survived on a test that would be going much slower than the real deal. Despite this, I decided to make some slight modifications and check it AD. So, let's watch it launch. Alright, you know what? Let's skip this one. I'll tell you how it ends. Yeah. After actually giving the design of the payload some thought this time and launching another test craft, I launched it again. This one didn't evaporate in Kerbin's atmosphere when it returned. Wow! After doing some more junk, I sent some more stuff to Eve. Specifically, a relay probe and a ScanSat scanner, both of which in preparation for my next mission, actually landing on Eve. In order to get as much out of this mission as I could, I used all 4 of my brain cells and came up with this. With an efficiently packed payload full of equipment and the same technology from several years ago powering the launch vehicle, let's launch our lander. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Nice. That last bit was pretty cool, right? But guess what? I brought 2 Eve landers, baby! One for the sea and one for land, in order to truly maximize profits. Alright, time to tell you about 2 more mods. Extraplanetary launch pads and Kerbal colonies. They both do similar things on paper, allow you to build launch bases on anything with a surface. Extraplanetary launch pads accomplishes this by launching vessels from other vessels, and Kerbal colonies does this by launching vessels from KSC-like buildings. Now, there are multiple advantages to building a surface base somewhere outside of Kerbin. Obviously, one of them is shorter travel times. If you launch from somewhere, you don't need to build a rocket to get there. But, depending on where you build your surface base, there are many more advantages. For example, if I built one on Minmus, I wouldn't have to deal with all the drag that comes from the atmosphere. I'd also need far less fuel to get into orbit of Minmus, and even less fuel to get to other planets. This, coupled with the fact that I wanted to, means that building a surface base on Minmus was my top priority. So, let's get started. First up, we'll need somewhere to actually launch things from. For this, we'll be using this launch pad from EL, Extraplanetary Launch Pads. I did slightly modify it because why isn't this node on the ground by default, and why is it in the way of the exhaust channel? For the other parts of the EL base, it'll mostly be a collection of parts that any EL base needs to actually launch stuff from. I'm going to explain them now. The way you actually construct vessels is very in-depth using EL, requiring pretty much a manufacturing pipeline. Step 1. Scout out for a suitable location to build a base. This is ideally a place rich in both ore from the stock game and metal ore, a new resource from EL that will eventually turn into rockets. Step 2. Build a base there. Doesn't matter what it is for now, I'm just using a launch pad with these 2 Kerbals in it. Step 3. Mine for metal ore. To do this, you use the auger parts included in EL. All you have to do is make sure they touch the ground. Step 4. Convert the metal ore into regular old metal. To do this, you'll need a smelter, which uses metal ore, liquid fuel, and oxidizer to produce metal. So, make sure you can get stock ore as well, I guess. Step 5. Convert metal into rocket parts. To do this, you'll either need one of 2 workshops in EL, which need Kerbals in order to run, or this milling machine that can do it for you. Step 6. Make sure you have a launch pad. I took care of this already, but if you didn't, then you need to have one. Step 7. Build the rocket using the Extraplanetary Launchpads UI, which you can open by right-clicking any launch site. Anyways, let's actually get launching. Great. We have all the pieces of the EL base. We need to start our Kerbal Colonies base. To actually build it, we need 5,000 rocket parts, which we have. Alright. Xbox game bar is really stupid. So, if I hit the build colony button, yes! 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 It works! Alright, I think I'm gonna, like, put a dome around it. Literally Kerbal Space Program. There we go. That's beautiful. No, not beautiful. That's just, like, sick. After launching a few more things from the EL base, like this cargo transporter / Kerbal Rescuer, the Kerbal Colonies base is complete. This is what we'll be using to launch things from Minmus from now on. Speaking of which, the next destination for our interplanetary empire is Duna. Red, very sandy, and very easy to get to from Minmus. Which is exactly why I completely forgot about launching things from the surface base and built a Duna probe that would be launched from Kerbin. I don't know. Maybe the base wasn't working or something. At the same time, I launched a relay satellite so I could maintain comms with the KSC. The Duna probe, as you can probably guess by now, performed science around Duna. After that, I got even more science by launching a lander to land on Duna. Let me just... Yeah... oh, right. Spy balloon. Hey, you know what I haven't done? A proper tour of the entire Minmus compound. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MIF Express. All aboard the lander. Thank you for flying with us, and all snacks served during the flight will be charged to your card. You're landing from IVA. I had a recording for the past 4.5 minutes. You saw that. Look at how centered I got. I am actually so good at this game. I had recorded some audio live, but this is what it sounds like. So I'll be taking over for him. This is the launch pad. This is where I launch stuff from the EL base. This is the processing tower. This is where ore becomes liquid fuel and oxidizer, metal ore becomes metal, and metal becomes rocket parts. On top of it is where Jimmy Man resides. It's pretty much a claw with a rocket engine and a lawn chair on it, but has nonetheless proved extremely useful. This is the main storage tower, which holds most of the rocket fuel and some extra rocket parts. This is the drilling tower. It has 2 scaled up drill-o-matics and 3 of these augers, which generate most of our ore and metal ore. This is the recycling bin. It's basically the garbage can. Next to it is our surface rover for science. This is where we turn regular old ore into enriched uranium, a very handy-dandy tool for nuclear shenanigans. Hasn't been used yet, but someday. Someday. This is the... It's where most of our ore is stored, and it's also where I have a whole bunch of liquid hydrogen. Again, someday. On the top of the is the Sterling World Power Concentrating Solar Furnace. We'll get back to it. Over here at the Kerbal Colonies base, we have a VAB, a place for everyone to live, comnet stations, a hangar, some places to store junk, and a launch site. Okay, back to the solar furnace. I have beef with this thing. Let me explain why. This is, effectively, one of those solar death rays you see on YouTube. In real life, light hits the parabolic dish and gets focused at one point. The combined energy of all the light makes that point very, very hot. Using some physics, probably just a steam turbine, this thermal energy gets converted into electricity. Great. The way Sterling Systems simulates this in KSP is by making a solar panel that generates a new resource called thermal power instead of electric charge. On top of this, the solar furnace has the capability to transform the thermal power into electric charge. Also great. Unfortunately, I have Copernicus installed. Due to some nitty-gritty with the files that I had to get into, but won't make you do so, this means that not only does the solar furnace become completely incapable of producing thermal power, it also makes the other solar panels on a craft try and produce thermal power, which they also can't do. Effectively, this bricks all of the solar panels on a craft. This scumbag is the reason I had to become extremely familiar with the save file format so I could bend reality my way out of this stupid bug. In the end, I ended up just removing it and replacing it with these 2 scaled up solar panels, which produce far less electric charge. Alright, what do they do after that? I built a missile. I upgraded some crew. This video took way too long to edit, and I'm just gonna let my friends say the end bit.
Open the Factorio server.
Fine. I'll do it.